I just I seen that. I seen that. Yeah, we got balloons in the background, pillows. Yeah, it's all about love, man. It's all about
Okay,
yeah.
calm down.
Let's feel the love. Welcome back. We're here. It's another live discussion of Real Talk. Co-host, I'm pretty sure you had a good week, so let's just kind of breeze past that.
Nah. Let's go.
Let's breeze
First
past
of
that
all,
week.
go Bucks. Buckeyes, baby. All of my Buckeye fans out there, let's get it. They hated us against Oregon.
Yeah.
Smashed them. They hated us against
for
Texas.
Buckeye
We
fans
smashed
out there.
them.
This is what it looks like, audience, when you pay.
No. Hey,
you pay for quality. Okay.
Hey, it's a win.
When you
Stop crying.
When you pay for the best players out there,
stop crying because your trash team didn't go anywhere. Anyways, we're gonna keep this on an up and up.
We didn't pay as much as you did.
We certainly thank the Buckeye fan club. You know what I'm saying? Did you see what
No,
did you see what Henderson said? Yeah, look at you.
Nothing. I don't pay attention to that. Not at all.
Doesn't matter.
That's how I feel.
Doesn't matter.
It does not.
Doesn't matter.
Hey,
again, the Ohio State Buckeyes break the mold. We were the first ones to win a national championship when the CFP started. Now we're going to be the first ones going to win a national championship with the new model of the CFP.
How many years ago did the first one start?
14 years ago.
Sheesh. You ain't won a national championship since 14 years ago?
Or 10? No, 10. 10 years.
Sheesh.
Yep. We had this will be our fourth appearance. Fourth appearance.
It's been 10 years since you won. And this guy is so excited.
But we're there. Where are you guys?
Great job.
Where are you guys?
10 years. $20 million later. 10 years.
Says the guy who's crying because his team is trash.
No.
Your team is trash.
We just don't have enough money as you guys.
Anyways.
We don't pay as much.
Yeah, you guys are doing it illegally.
No, so we did it legally.
You did it illegally.
You got proof?
Anyway. Really? Though?
Did you have proof for that?
That's what we're doing? Okay.
Wait, real quick.
Didn't
your coach, when he first came in, y'all was banned for like a year?
No, not who?
Urban Meyer, when he came in? Yes, you was.
It wasn't him.
No, it wasn't him, but when he stepped in. So what I'm saying is your program has a history of doing shady stuff. And you want to say, and you want to talk about us.
Let's not go into history.
That's all I'm just saying.
Bama is trash.
That's all I'm saying.
Let's now convert. Go Bills.
I can be with you with that. Go Bills. Go Bills and go Lamar.
Well,
go Bills and go Lamar.
It's not going to happen. Lamar's going to have to get defeated on Sunday.
I don't care. As long as Lamar plays well, he can put up a Euro game. Bunch of yards, bunch of stats, and the Bills win. Yeah, I'm okay with that. Then they can't dog Lamar, and the Bills can keep going.
You really can't dog Lamar.
They find ways to do it.
You can find ways to do anything, Jack.
I know.
So, like your statement is moot because
it's not my statement. It's them. You're
saying as long as he puts up the number, they can find problems.
Because they said that he doesn't perform well in the playoffs. So that's what I'm saying. He needs to have another good game, according to them.
He's still good. He's a phenomenal player. So
I agree. I agree. And it's a Sunday night game, right?
6:30. But go Bills.
Go Bills. What do you think? Prediction?
We're winning.
You're gonna win.
We're winning. And I've been predicting Houston Texans are going to beat KC, and we're going to have a AFC championship home game. That'll be crazy.
Didn't you predict a couple years the Bills is going to win?
No, I've never predicted them.
No.
I always play the game of their year because I'm just jumping on the 50-year bandwagon. This is our year. So
let's go, man. Bring on the Buffalo. It's a whole different ball game in Buffalo. All right.
It's going to be 10 degrees too. It's going to be 10 degrees.
That means
we beat them we beat them before in the playoff when it was 10. Matter of fact, it was 21 when they came here. We gave Lamar.
He threw that pick in their end zone, and they took it all the way back.
And they gave him a concussion that day.
Yeah.
So
exciting game. All right. Yeah, I think it ended up being 17-3. Okay. Tonight, we're talking about what?
Oh, I thought you were about to say something. We're going to reflect. I have some questions.
Okay. Okay.
So you all know that we typically address in Real Talk, we typically address biblical, things that are happening in Christendom, or some of the things that have been practices of Christianity that might not be biblical. We want to search the scriptures and have you to pose questions, or kind of like justify why people are doing what they're doing in the name of Christianity when it's really not Christianity, whatever. So we always like to have a dialogue during this Real Talk discussions. It's the goal to simply have an open dialogue, an open platform for us to address maybe what seems to be hypocrisy, or what seems to be contradictions, or what seems to be half truths, or error, or whatever it may be. We want to be able to take time to dialogue and dig into the scriptures and search things out. Just like the Bereans, the Bible says that they searched the scriptures to see if those things that Paul was teaching was accurate. So that's kind of like what we want to do during these discussions. But tonight, because we start the new year, it's 2025. Think about it. It's January 14th already. You're halfway through the month of January already.
In another month, I'll be on baby number 3.
Get ready. Get ready. So what I would like for us to do tonight is just kind of like have more of like a transparency kind of conversation. And, maybe somebody that's watching might ask a question about, the things that we're saying, and ask questions about maybe a situation that we might bring up in this discussion tonight. But what I would like to talk about is two things. Let's talk about what were some things you can reflect on now for 2025 from 2024 in your family life and in your professional life as a Christian.
As a Christian?
Well, because your Christian belief, you know what I'm saying? Like the challenges that you may have gone through, or the things that you were faced with in 24 when it comes to, your family, and then, your professional life.
Okay.
And, maybe in the discussion, or what you start to share, somebody else might have the same kind of challenges and might be able to reflect from something that you saw God bring you through in 24 in those particular areas. And then, you can share it, and hopefully somebody else will be able to benefit and, accept their challenges instead of wanting to give up. And by the way, this Friday is considered, quote unquote, give up Friday.
Yes. I've seen some kind of commercial or something.
So this
that.
Friday is the give up Friday. So maybe we can have a discussion before this Friday where it's give up Friday, because they say majority of the time, whatever you started in the top of the year, the third Friday is typically the turning point of people giving up on what they started in the new year. So this Friday is considered give up Friday. So hopefully our discussion tonight will prevent somebody from giving up this Friday. What's that?
No.
Well, no,
I don't know.
There were some commercials bringing that out, that this Friday they said.
I thought it was dope. I was like, yeah,
that's a reality though. I could totally make sense. Totally makes sense.
Yeah.
How many things that people have tried to start at the beginning of the year, and I never knew how to quantify it, but they've, from apparently polling people, surveying people, that it averages out to this Friday, or the third Friday of the year. It will be give up Friday. Like they'll give up. Like it'll have
that first week. You're like, yeah, let's go. The second week, you're like, okay, all right. The third, you're like, oh, give me that chicken. I'm done. Give me that. I'm good. I'm straight. I'm fine. Okay, so 2 things.
Family life, professional life.
So let's go professional first.
Professional. So what do you do, Jack? What is your professional life?
That's classified information.
That's classified. It is not classified. It's not classified.
I help people. And I help people.
That's corny. You're not being transparent. That's that Christian stuff I'm talking about. That's that
through
Christian stuff I'm
affordable
talking
housing.
about.
No, it's
that
not.
corny, fake stuff that you be putting out there.
It's-
Not trying to be real with folks.
no, let me say this. I used to work for the city of Buffalo,
What department?
the Buffalo Urban Renewal Agency. So I
It's
was
called Bureau, acronym Bureau.
yes, the acronym Bureau, and I dealt with things in affordable housing. So there are about
So
five.
top secret about that.
Nothing about that.
Now, who do you work for now?
I don't worry about that. I work for the government. So
The state government, federal government. Who do you work for?
anyways, the point is,
That's that.
I
That's
work
that
through
Christian
things.
stuff I'm talking about.
I work through. I find a way to serve through providing for the most vulnerable people, which are those who are in poverty or below the poverty line, and so I always loved and enjoyed the work that I did, and the work that's still happening through the city of Buffalo, through the federal government providing funding. So there's like 5 entitlement grants that you can get. So no matter what the funding source is, it allowed communities, towns, whatever the case may be able to assist people in affordable housing, to have affordable, decent, safe, affordable housing, and also to address the homelessness problem. So anyways, that's what I did. I found for me, staying away from the private sector, like my heart, I had a mission. I saw the mission from my company, and I loved and enjoyed that. So I worked there for 8 years, 5 years in finance, 3 years in housing, and just recently, December, I got a new job, and so
Where?
I'm appreciative.
Where's the new job at? You got a new job, so where?
Yeah, I told you, with the government.
What government?
This guy,
The state or the federal level?
this guy. What does it matter? The bottom line
People
is,
want to know. Like, this is transparency.
yeah, and it's better for me. But what I learned through that,
It's corn biscuit.
I learned how to push myself, and I've also learned that sometimes the things you can ask for from God, sometimes you can be thinking small minded because that's all you can see, instead of seeing like what God is doing. And I have to clarify that, because I'm not saying that as a reference of think bigger, dream bigger.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is that, let's say you have a skill set, and in your mind, because you only know this is the position, this is the only level in the org chart or the org structure, you're seeing yourself, and you're like, you're disappointed you're not getting this, you're frustrated you're not getting through this route, but you're still doing everything righteously, and you're like, man, I should do things the way other people are doing. All around, God in the background, in his omniscience, is recognizing everything he's having you go through is creating a bigger door for you that you never seen, and then you sit back and you're just like,
Prior to that door opening, did you ever feel like quitting?
absolutely, multiple times.
How did you manage that?
I spent some time alone with God. People talk about fasting from food, but for me, to me
You
personally,
fasted from church.
this guy's funny. this guy here. That was good one. That was a good one, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go. Round of applause. Round of applause for Steve. That was good. No, instead of food, I just got away from social media, different things, and I really just, asked God for direction. I think it was like 2 or 3 days, and he provided me answers years before he did things, and I really didn't understand the answer.
Wait a minute. So let me clarify what you're trying to say. You're telling me that you got information years earlier, but you couldn't see it in real time.
Correct.
Until you were in the real time and you were able to pull back from that information that now it resonated back to like, that's what that is. And
Yes.
now here you are in real time with it,
Real
and
time.
you were able to utilize that wisdom.
So that was one aspect of the quitting. Another aspect, I reached out to my pastor. For me, and anybody watching, I would always say, if you're ever going through some kind of difficult situation, my mindset always thinks, go to God first, And as you go to God first, He'll reveal things to you. Then He also has, as the Bible talks about, like being around counselors, like in the
Right.
multitude of like
Right.
counselors.
There's safety.
So for me, I go to somebody that I know can challenge me, push me, and doesn't want to give me what I want to hear, but will allow me to reflect back on God. So I go to my pastor, and he provided some information.
Who's that? Who's your pastor?
This guy who's you know, he's he's an interesting character. I
Why
can
are
say
you
that
talking to
much.
him like he ain't in the room right now? You
He's a
talking to
very
him like he's a
interesting
third person or something.
character. So anyways, and then I always I talk things over with my wife,
Spouse,
my
yes,
my
yes.
partner. So the last, so it was 3 times I was gonna quit in 3 years, and the last time,
Dang, 3 times in 3 years? Sheesh.
the last time I you can attest to this. I I was interviewing for the job that I was gonna get that I got, and the night before I was just like, yeah, I felt like defeated. I felt down. I felt like, you know, not God had abandoned me, but I couldn't see. I was tired of the keep fighting, the keep going forward messages, and God is just weird and funny at times because He'll use something completely different. So I'm talking to my pastor. No, my pastor wants to talk to me about something completely different about other things that sped its way to addressing things with God. And in that moment, it was pick yourself up, keep going forward, trust God. And from that, and we're still talking about career, from that, I never wavered. I didn't quit. And because I kept trusting, even with tears, with um, frustration, with not seeing things,
aggravation,
but
yeah.
I never doubted God. I just couldn't see. Like, I guess the metaphor would be like, I'm driving. I don't know where to, I'm hearing the navigation. I'm just like, okay, I don't know where this is, but I'm not going to turn back around, if you will.
I'm gonna give you so I'm gonna let you finish, but I'm gonna use a verse that describes what you're talking about, which a lot of people really, this is a good visual for this verse.
Okay.
David says in the book of Psalms 119, I think it's 105, Psalms 119, 105, I think it's 105. But he says this, thy word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. Sometimes, and then that partners with 2 Peter, which I'll quote that in a minute, but Psalms 119, 105, where it says, thy word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. It actually might be verse 11, but I can't remember. But anyways, the idea is this. Sometimes you don't have the understanding, you just have the information. So thy word is a lamp unto my feet, light unto my path, is me just recognizing the character of God by his word. I understand through the word of God, his character builds my faith to know he's still in control. Though I can't understand how this is going to turn out. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, so you can have the knowledge.
You can have the
information.
Exactly, but you don't have the understanding of how he's going to, he says he's going to provide. That's information. That's dependent on the character of God, that he is a provider. However, I don't know how. I have no money in the bank. I have my check ain't coming for another week, and that's already spent before I even get it because of the bills that are piling up, right? But how am I going to take care of this? I got this that I need to take care of as well. I don't know how. Thy word is a lamp. So what do I do? I depend on the information of the character of God, not understanding where his hand is going to provide, how he's going to provide. So that verse is a very good illustration of what you're saying right now regarding, yes, my soul knows that God is real. My soul knows he's faithful. My soul knows he cannot deny me. That's not in his character. But I have no idea, how are you going to pull this off? How are you going to turn this around?
Yeah. And I think to conclude from the career wise, because I stayed on course, it allowed me to trust God more. It allowed me to recognize character, integrity still matters. It allows my brain, my mind to know, like, I don't have to do what other people had to do to get these things.
Yep.
Like
You were
all
able
of
to
that
have
is
integrity.
important. Like
Yeah.
that's important to see. Like,
Yeah.
okay, it's going to take different type of work. It's going to take, but so that was just great for me. And also it allowed me to see on a natural level, which is still godly, that there were some things that I had to work on within my personality type that God had to break and get together before I got to the next point.
Mhm.
So yeah, career wise, I learned a lot just from trusting God, maintaining character, and that God will challenge you and motivate you in your skill set to be better. But you may not know what those things may be. Like you may think, hey man, I'm not saying you. You may think,
No,
hey, I'm a great manager and I'm a great, like I want this position right here.
Mhm.
God's like, okay, cool, we got it for you, but you're gonna have to work on this, and that. And in
Mhm,
your mind,
mhm.
you're like, no, I'm good, I'm good. And then God has to work you through those things and break down those things. So
I think that's a good segue for me to talk about my professional reflection for
okay,
2024. Do we have any comments?
that's my favorite elder, Elder Reimer. He just saying hello, Pastor, hello, Jack. Elder Reimer, the only thing I would say, appreciate you, is just make sure you put Jack first. This is hello, Jack. Then hello, Pastor. He's the
Reimer,
he's
you
the
did the
sidekick.
right thing. You're an elder statesman. You understand protocols.
No,
You understand
no,
protocols.
Thank you for watching.
Statements.
Lauren Gant on Facebook says hello, and she says that sounds great. Give up. Welcome to the day.
Hey, Laureen, how are you doing? Good to see you again. Thank you for being with us. Look at
give up.
No.
Oh, hello. He's funny.
Okay.
So you're talking about character, right? Like there's certain things that, let's say let's codify this. Let's just say, you're, I'm not saying you are, but I'm just saying you're manager C, but you want to be a manager B, and then you want to get to a manager A, right?
Yes.
And so in your mind, you're like, I have the skills for manager B.
Yes.
But sometimes we are not understanding the overarching dynamics of what a manager B needs to have. Isn't just the technical piece, it's also the character piece or the professional development piece that deals with, emotional intelligence and, just business acumen, just a lot of different things. Okay. And so we always want to rush into saying, no, I deserve this because I'm efficient in this technical piece regarding manager B. Even though I'm a manager C, I want to bump up to manager B.
Yep, and I'm also a child of God too, combined with that. So
automatically
so I also share that too.
Yeah,
now,
well, I'm gonna
that's
shoot that
favorite.
right down. I'm gonna tell y'all one of the biggest pet peeves is Christians talking about because I'm a child of God, I deserve something. No, God favors you. God, first of all, has mercy on us, but He favors you because you've worked on dealing with the problems that you have with yourself, and you're willing to work through those things. And He favors you because He sees your heart, His intention to honor Him and what you're pursuing. So I'm not just pursuing manager B just for myself. I'm pursuing manager B because I want to honor the Lord every time I grow, every time I go higher in elevation. It isn't just about me getting a higher or a better paycheck. It's about my scope of influence.
Yeah.
I just told my VP, who I report to, I just told her my evaluation today. I told her, I was like, more levels, more devils. She's like,
Does she even understand what that meant?
So I kind of, a little bit, I think she kind of understood, but I was like, I'm at a new level now in my professionalism. I'm dealing with new devils, things that I've never thought I would have to. I realize now why it's so difficult for me to operate in my role is because of the space now. The space I now occupy has a different level of arrogance and so on. And the people that I have to interact with have a broader scope, so they can pull from more resources to oppose me. You see what I'm saying? Whereas I'm just dealing with, hourlies or mid-management people that they're going to give you conflict, but their stretch of influence isn't as broad as somebody that's above me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so you have to be able to learn how to navigate through those kind of waters, or learn how to maintain your integrity while in those spaces. as a child of God. So I'm not just walking in that space like, oh, they're going to respect me because I'm a child of God. No, they're going to respect what I present. I'm going to present something while in that space.
Gotcha.
So what I learned and what I reflect from in 24 is I had to go through a lot of emotional intelligence development. Like, doesn't mean I was lacking character. It was the emotional intelligence pieces, knowing how to show up in that space and looking at everybody in that space to benefit, not just you in that space. You have to know how to show up for the person that opposes you, meaning still for good intentions. You have to know how to show up for your team. You have to know how to show up even for yourself, and to be able to still share and have a voice without feeling intimidated when people disagree with your opinions or what you're saying or your ideologies, whatever. So learning how to show up there. So that way the overarching goal, if I work for a company, should be the company's goals.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And so I can't get into the dirt on personal issues because another manager doesn't like me or doesn't want to, follow the rules, or, gets arrogant and talks too much, or, is, just out of pocket half the time, saying sly, slick stuff where you could be like, your masculinity could show up, be like, yo, keep talking slick if you want. I'm gonna let you know what time it is. Or you can let it slide, but approach it differently.
Yeah.
So
that piece is very critical because I almost had a situation throughout in my 3 years where I wouldn't have been in this.
Didn't you have to ask somebody if you wanted to go outside to have lunch or something?
Nah. No, I was a union officer, and as a union officer, I wanted to remind people of their rights. And their rights is that they have a 15-minute break. And, sometimes people have to calm down within that space. And
You offered somebody to take that 15-minute break?
To calm. Yeah. That way that they can reflect and calm down.
Did you want to go see them at their 15-minute break?
I didn't discuss anything about me. I was just discussing with them their rights. And that's a part of me as a union officer. But anyways, I wouldn't have gotten to this point. And then I sit back and I look about on my family. Like, I can't, what am I going to tell my son? Like, I won a moment and now I jeopardize his life for it. So it allowed me to see kind of in that space, like, dude, if this is what as you talked about, having the emotional intelligence, like, you can do the petty stuff, you can do those things, but professionally and as a believer, what are you portraying though? Like,
right.
What are you?
Right.
And so that's why I know I jumped in there, but I just thought about that because you can miss something God's trying to. I would have missed that had that situation went south, and I wouldn't even be able to see this. And then I'm further down, trusting in God, where now I'm like, I know not to get caught up in this ever.
Right.
Like, to not,
or not even entertain. Like, what I've learned is I don't even allow myself to entertain that petty stuff anymore. It's like, it's fruitless.
Yeah.
It's literally fruitless. Yes, your feelings, you have to harness your emotions. And like the Bible says, casting down every thought and casting down every imagination, take every thought captive unto the obedience of Christ. Whereas you're learning to wrestle with yourself first before trying to voice yourself, meaning you're dealing with yourself first before trying to advocate some opinion that you have that honestly, your opinion really might not be a good opinion, but because it's your opinion, you want to advocate for your opinion. Yeah. What I've learned is that no, let's harness some of that. Let's humble ourselves for a second. Let's think about, what is it that I'm actually trying to advocate? Am I just advocating for my opinion? Now, again, learning to show up for yourself is important. It's a part of mental health. Showing up for yourself, meaning understanding your opinions are important, but make sure that when you start advocating for your opinions, you're doing it properly. You're not just going in that space, advocating your opinions and not caring about what anybody else thinks, says, how they feel, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But to be able to show up strong enough to advocate for yourself, but also meek enough to be careful in listening and paying attention and not getting mentally caught up in people's personal opinions about you, or they say sly things, or when they try to make it personal instead of professional. going through all of 24, like man, my wife will attest to it. Man, there's some days I just don't. I'm done. I'm
Mentally
so done.
checked out.
I'm done. Well, with my job, like working
Oh.
for the company. I've driven home and just been like, this is it. I'm done. I'm so done with this. I'm not doing this anymore. But that's
Now, what got you through to
it's
the
always
next day or the,
I've learned a long time ago. First of all, you're never going to stop having those feelings of wanting to quit. You'll never reach a spiritual pinnacle that you'll never feel like quitting. That's if anybody ever says that, they're lying. They're not actually spiritual. That's a falsified imagination that they've created. You will never ever stop feeling like you want to quit. What you learn to do is manage it better and maintain the course that God has given you to be on to fulfill his will. While internally you may suffer for a moment. So what got me through it was I've learned a long time ago. All you got to do is get up every day and keep the forward motion in what you know is right. Mentally, it's very challenging. Mentally, it's like, why? Like, where is this leading me? But you still know it's right. I don't know how this is going to turn out. I don't know what God is doing with this. I don't know. But now, hindsight, the start of 24 and the start of 25, I'm a completely different person. Like, I can manage, and we're talking about my professional life.
Mhm.
I can manage much more efficiently without being reactionary. I'm more focused on trying to resolve rather than advocate my opinion or advocate my voice. I'm more quick to turn my thoughts into saying, okay, they have a point, a strong point. I kind of don't like it, but it does have some validity, and I'm going to give more voice to it. I'm going to give a space to marinate, to build, to see who else adds to it, or they keep working through the process of articulating their idea that eventually starts building some substance that you can get with. And you'd be like, you know what, that I like that. Instead of me just wanting my opinion to be advocated, right? So I've learned and I've grown in a sense of being able to manage myself. And I always say, I'm not showing up just with my faith, quote unquote, meaning I'm not just showing up to work just with my faith and just think like this blind faith that I have is going to move mountains. No. If you have so much faith in God, then trust God to let you work through that process that you're going through, knowing that you're going to survive it. You don't have to just give up, though you feel like giving up. Like I say, several times I wanted to, but I've learned to put my mind where it needs to go. I put my mind on realizing that I know God is with me. I know he's faithful, and I know that he's going to work something out for me. I know it's going to help me, even if it's not even the physical, tangible developments, but the internal development, the change within, the thoughts that I now cultivate my personality with, the thoughts that I use to cultivate my character with is now refreshed and renewed so that I have a better perspective and a better approach of handling things while I'm at work. I'm not perfect. I will still let things get to me. I may, sometimes I don't even go to a meeting. Be like, I'm not going to a meeting. I'm not about to get into that nonsense. You know what I'm saying? Or I'll just, not show up with my whole heart intention, but then I'll have a conversation with myself. It's like, no, you gotta keep pushing yourself. You gotta keep pushing yourself. You don't know where that's taking you. You have no idea that you think that your all in all is at that job you're at right now, whatever the professional job you're in. You have no idea what you're cultivating. It could take a sharp left turn into something much grander that you never knew.
Yeah.
But because you're letting God to develop your skills, now you're in a place that's much larger. The field is much broader. You thought you were going to be in this field, but he put you in a much broader field because you allowed him to develop and cultivate you, right? And you've learned to be mature in your faith and not act like a kook, but to be a real human being, a real, intellectual, emotional, sound person that comes up with sound answers and comes up with logical explanations and, commits to doing hard work and commits to following through. But at the end of the day, people know that you're looking to honor God. You want to, you're going to stand up for what you believe, your belief system. You hold to it. You hold fast to it. You don't compromise it. So that's what I've reflected when it comes to my professional life.
All right. Family, right?
Family. What can you reflect from now from family?
Real quick back professional. You said it. I just wanted to state it just real quickly that I recognize too that it's not about the paycheck, but serving. So now, while I did certain things and did certain projects like with the city of Buffalo, but now my mind sees more and more what this is really actually doing, and it just feeds me to want to learn more and grow more so that I can serve like people. But that ties into the whole love thy neighbor as thyself piece for me.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm doing, God doesn't talk about loving those who love you. God doesn't talk about lending to those who love you.
He talks against it.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is that to be able to want to house people, to want to make sure people have food and things to eat, to find those ways, those is just that's serving. And so I would just tell any believer there, whatever occupation that you're in, just make sure that there's a way that in which you're feeling as though like you're honoring God, but that in some capacity that you're like serving.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what you're doing that. All right,
because I'm trying to. She's ignoring me. Hey, I got you. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, let the monitor do it.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, family. Woo. Okay. Man, I should let you go first.
I'll go first.
I guess what I figured out was I have an amazing family.
You figured out?
They're awesome.
You ain't figured out nothing.
They're great.
You saying you figured it out? You ain't figured out nothing.
They're great.
You're still
They're
in
awesome.
You're still in the dark. To say you figured it out, my guy? Are you kidding me? I'm about to do 25 years. This coming up May. That goalpost moves daily. You ain't figured out nothing. What's your This dude said I figured out. You ain't figured out nothing saying something crazy like that. The goalpost moves daily. I don't never know where the goalpost is. I'm kicking it over there and it's moved over here. I figured, okay, that's the goal. I kick it over there, it gets moved over there. Brother, you ain't figured out nothing. Once you figure that out, then you figured out nothing.
You're funny. Now this may lead into a bigger conversation, but it's essential. And it's simple, but I don't think we pay attention to it enough. Your upbringing impacts how and what you do so much.
Absolutely.
But sometimes you gotta get older to really recognize that.
Yeah, I agree. You couldn't realize how much parenting that you got growing up is in your soul right now, and how you approach parenting and realize, whoa. Yeah. Totally. I wanted
mannerisms, everything. So
go ahead.
So I say that to say that what I learned in 2024 is how to address that, work on that, go through that, not run away from that, not make any excuses for things, and recognize that I'm gonna have weaknesses, and I have some very interesting kids that will call you out on weaknesses. They don't forget things. So reflecting on my family, I can say that you really are gonna have to address your upbringing and address that, and allow God to, compare and contrast. Some things good, some things, bad, some things great that you want to, build on. And then address that. What's so funny?
I'm laughing because there's this reel that talks about a millennial versus a Gen Z. The millennial says, no, baby boomer. The baby boomer says, don't come my way. I'll punch you. I'll punch you right in the mouth. I'll make you lose your teeth. Get away from me. We're raised differently. So,
That sounds like a baby boomer.
That sounds like a baby boomer versus a Gen Z. You know what I'm saying? Gen Z's got to. Well, we won't get into that. But anyways,
Guy.
To your point, what I'm saying is a baby boomer.
Yes.
Versus a Gen Z.
Yes,
the baby boomer's like, don't
yeah.
come near me. I'll punch you dead square in your mouth. I'll make you miss teeth in a minute if you keep messing with me. Because that's how they were
That's
raised.
how they were. Yeah, that's how they went at it. I recognize the same work that you put in work, in other areas in life. You need to make sure you're putting in that much energy, if not more, to your family. I thought biblically that if I'm doing something that's one verse, that's good for another verse that I may not be addressing. Like if I'm providing and taking care of the household, a man at work doesn't eat, or he's worse than if. All right, cool, boom. Yeah, but that doesn't give you the right to neglect loving your wife like Christ loved the church. So, you begin to recognize like that level of energy and effort you go to building up your skills and courses and trainings and classes, then you better be ready to go to any courses or trainings and classes, for
the marriage or the family or whatever, to make you a better man or the better head of the household person to take care of the household.
And the last thing I would say is that I was able to see my marriage as a partnership more in 2024, because in my weak moments in life, going through like my job and stuff like that, I was able to depend on my wife instead of thinking like as the man, like, no, I gotta shield you from these things and I don't want you handling that. It allowed me to see like, okay, my wife can deal with this and she can provide feedback. I had to give the opportunity
space for that.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what I've learned. I learned to address my upbringing, and all these things are still things you're gonna have to keep working on.
Sure,
so,
totally, yeah.
Address my upbringing.
You're aware of it.
I'm aware of it now.
So I have no of it. So now you know
excuse to
like what you have to work on and what you're gonna start dealing with. And when it appears, you realize, okay, I'm not gonna do it the way I was assumed before. Yes. Now there's got to be more of an active role in modifying this behavior or changing the way I but handle my family.
Yeah. All right.
Heard.
Go ahead.
What do I have to reflect on from family in 2024? Well, first of all,
you're like an empty nester or something.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. That's what I was about to say. This is our first year of having an empty nest. All of our children are out of the house. Our son's married. Our one daughter's in Charlotte, North Carolina, and my other daughter's at college. Nobody's in the house now. So that's I love it.
You and the wife time, man. It's just more time y'all can have with each other, man. That has to be amazing.
It is amazing. I love spending time with my wife. I love it.
I know. I bet. I know.
All 17 of her.
17.
Oh yeah.
Oh, different personalities.
Oh yeah. And and sometimes they all show up in one day. Sometimes they wake up. They all wake up together. I'll be at the kitchen table reading my Bible like 4:30 in the morning. I can just tell by the way the footsteps coming down the hallway. I'll be like, that's not my wife. That's one of those. That's one of those busters. Oh, okay.
You up 4:30, ready to go, rock and roll with it,
man. I mean, I'm trying to have some time with Jesus. Nope, they ain't having it. I can tell by the way she walks sometimes. I'm like, that's not my wife. That's not her walking down the hallway. That's one of those other cats. Oh, they must be pissed about something. She must have had a dream. She must have had a dream of me talking to a whole nother woman and woke up and it was so real. Oh yeah, one of those busters decided to let's go talk to this dude right now. Let's go address this immediately.
But you get a pass because you're in your word, right?
What?
Oh man. Okay, empty nester.
My guy.
Empty nester. You got more time now with your wife. Now, are you recognizing how much, because your family isn't around?
Let me say this. One of the things, it's a blessing and it's kind of like a two-edged sword. So having an empty nester really shows you, your emotional attachment to your children. Like, you miss having them around. You miss having the little nuances of what made our family fun and exciting, is the jokes that we would have with each other, how we would, be quick to mess with each other, and just having that bantering going on in the household. There's still bantering, and I'm still talking to like several people, but it's just one body in the room now. But anyways, I'm telling you, I could write a book. I'm turning this franchise around, people. I'm bringing hope to the manhood code. I'm telling you right now. I'm telling you, I can see them transitioning right in front of my eyes. Like, I can see them transitioning right in front of me. I'm just saying, I'm trying to help a brother out there. It's real, all right? I love my wife. I love her dearly. But anyways, family. The nuances, the kids being out of the house, just those little things that you miss about them makes you think more. And then it kind of like pulls on your heartstrings, because you'd be like, dang, like I can't say this, or dang, this would have been funny if they were there. Dang. And then, so you learn to appreciate, though. Also, I'm looking forward. Now it's a little bit more challenging for my wife. And I know I can say this because we talk a lot. It's more challenging on my wife having the kids out of the home than for me, because she wasn't raised in a home where it was expected of you to leave.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? In my family growing up, it was you were expected to leave. And we didn't have cell phones when I went to college. We had snail mail. We had phones and snail mail.
What is snail mail?
Mail.
Oh.
A letter. So I could go to college. I wouldn't talk to my parents for like a month. My wife talks to my kids almost every single day. And I tell my kids all the time, listen, when I went to college, I didn't hear from my parents for a month. I'd go home on break, see them, then I would be gone for another month. I wouldn't hear from them. I'd get a letter here and there. That's just the way it was back then. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Same with my sisters. They all went to college. The same thing as my brothers. Like, that's just what was expected of you. So I'm excited and it helped us all to grow. All of my siblings and I were very independent, extremely independent. I mean, my sisters are like strong matriarchs. They're strong-minded, very disciplined, very focused, very goal-driven. They're very, that's the way our parents raised us. We were just, we were expected to. So it's harder on her than for me. I am excited about my son being married and being on his own with his wife in their own home, having his own job and career and so on. Yeah, you want to be there to help them and you want to, do as much, but also you have to restrain it from that to let them learn on their own. And to some degree, you want to be there with your kids. You want to be with your daughter at college, your daughter down at North Carolina, but you got to let them grow. You got to let them learn and adapt to life and learn how to manage their own life and mature. So I'm excited for that. My wife, she worries all the time. She's worrying about, what's going on there. What are they thinking about themselves? How are they handling themselves? Which a mother is going to do, right? It's
we got to get her up at 4:30 in the morning. Like how we do. We get up there and read, and she get up at 4:30 in the morning reading, playing that. The warrior start to drop just a little bit. We get on that study guide plan that we got. Should be all right.
Lorraine says, I'm still trying to adjust to not having the kids around.
Wow, Lorraine, your children have been gone for a minute. Like, your kids are grown. They're like 30s, I think, 30s, 40s, I believe. I could be wrong. Maybe around 30s, 35, somewhere around there. And she's still trying to get used to it. I get it. I can understand it. It's a challenge. So, for reflecting on 24, just adjusting to that, having a completely empty nest, trusting God for your children, trying to, stay prayerful for them, just wanting to make sure that they make the right decisions and not trying to be there to tell them what to do, just guide it a little bit, but be prayerful for them. But also my wife and I, we're very, we've had our own trying times of different things, just, personal struggles as far as, the workload that we have and the responsibilities that we have. And we have to help each other. Like we're learning to always, we pray together in the morning. Just being able to help one another.
All 17.
See, I have to. Well, first it's an exorcist, then I get to.
Okay.
And then I have prayer.
So you get the 17 don't want to pray.
No,
So
they
you gotta
be
get to
they be ready to fist fight.
Okay.
They be ready to fist fight. I gotta have an exorcist first, then we get to pray. Then she's calm and I can hold her hand and pray. But listen, y'all, I love my wife. This is how her and I talk. We play like this. She knows, but she also knows that it's true. She's got some personalities that she's trying to. Anyways, but what I'm getting at is that the struggles that her and I have, they're real struggles, and we're recognizing the toll that it has on us at times. That we have to be very careful not to become. What word is it that I use? I can't remember, but it's like, it's gone. It's leaving me. But you don't want to get into a place where, the burden begins to affect your vision. It begins to affect your commitment. It begins to affect your empathy and your compassion for people. So you have to be prayerful. You have to stay very focused. And we talk to each other. We encourage each other. We make sure that, what we are feeling, we're honest about it. If we are very angry or whatever, we're honest about it. But we work through things, and we've learned to work through things throughout 24. It's just been a good journey. It's been a challenge. There are still some things that her and I are working through, not in our marriage, but just how we cope with things together, how we learn to cope in things and be honest about what we're coping with. But I see a lot of I would say joy of what we're experiencing, going through things together, so.
Okay, so last 5 minutes, I want to talk about, we addressed early on about Friday, about the
Give It Up Friday.
Give It Up Friday. So now we address things in our personal life, we address things in our family. Now, what happens if we address areas in which we can get better, and we want to get better, and we find ourselves as believers getting towards this giving up point?
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting to a question,
mm-hmm.
But in my mind, I used to always think that it's like as long as you can identify a problem, like you're good, like I'm aware now, like everything is straight. And then now I find myself like, why didn't I overcome a situation? Like, I know I'm this way. Like, let's say I recognize I'm selfish.
Why?
And my selfishness is causing me to not give.
Mm-hmm.
My selfishness is causing me not to do this. It's not causing me to. It's not helping me to love my wife. It's all these things, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay, I'm aware of that. I ain't really know I was selfish. I admitted that.
Yep.
Okay, 6 months later,
you're still being selfish
and not changing, not moving. Like, how does my question? How does a believer, whatever it is that they're recognizing, God has made aware, because in that first week they all been praying and fasting, so God has made aware of things. He's shown Himself to them. How do they stay committed on addressing those things where they're not seeing the change?
Honestly, I think that the biggest problem when it comes to people and change is that they see the end result, but they've never been trained to look at all of the multiple individual steps necessary to get the completion. For instance, the old question is, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. Eventually the elephant will be consumed, but you don't just try to eat the whole elephant at once. Yeah. They say you eat it one bite at a time. Okay. Now, here's the thing. It's the same thing with change. So many people are so focused on the end results that when they don't see they don't see the end result happening in a week, they give up. They don't realize, no, focus on the small steps every single day consistently. Master those things. Don't try to master the end result. Master the small things that get to the end result. Think on that. Reward yourself for every day taking that step towards change. But I don't think people that just don't change after 6 months, it's not because it can't be done. they're really not trying, and they're not giving the right focus on the right area to get that result that they're looking for. I can't see somebody not changing, right? If they're giving their focus to that, to the steps that get to that change. Some things change overnight. Some things change in a little bit. Some things take a while. Because you have to be in those environments. You have to be in those spaces for you to act differently for the change to appear. So you have to learn how to absorb that. Like I'll give you an example. When I was at EB Greens, when I was the executive chef at the Hyatt, and I was inside EB Greens, and I would run the restaurant EB Greens inside the Hyatt in downtown Buffalo. I remember that I would get very, very angry at the servers. Like I would tell them, "Get them, shut up and go away." Mind you, I'm a Christian, being very belligerent. And I would go to prayer and I'd be like, "Lord, like I don't want to be that guy. Like that's not what I want to be." So I'm thinking God's just going to change me like that. No, I had to learn. No, you have to learn to be in that space again and then understand, refrain yourself from saying something and feel the pressure on your soul to restrain the words that you want to say. Refrain from saying those. You get it? And then you do it repeatedly, consistently. What ended up happening was I changed the whole narrative at EB Greens regarding the front of the house on how the kitchen staff dealt with the front of the house. Because typically in the restaurant industry, back of the house, which is cooks and everything, fight with the front of the house, the servers, because the servers a lot of times just don't care what the cooks are going through. The cooks can care less what the servers are going through. So there's always bad blood. But what I started to do is once I started doing that and I started changing the narrative for myself, I was able to start getting the narrative to change with the line cooks. And eventually we started having a much more cohesive relationship between the front of the house and the back of the house. But I had to be in that environment to experience the pressure and then refrain from saying certain things over a period of time, consistently doing that small thing to where I got the result of not being that guy who would blow up and be belligerent and have a serious attitude. And then at the end of the day, be like, yeah, I'm a Christian. What do you think they're looking at? They're not looking at a Christian. They're looking at some ignoramus that's calling himself a Christian. That's not representing Christianity at all. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you have to look at the small day-to-day pieces. Don't look at the end result. That's the goal. But now micro focus on the small pieces day after day. Again, it's just a very easy narrative to use. If you want to start getting healthier, don't start trying to change your diet overnight. Ask yourself, can I eat something different on Monday? And every Monday, I'm just going to eat this. You start there. You give yourself that win. Then you tell yourself, okay, maybe I'll start now on breakfast on Tuesday. I'll do something different on Tuesday. So I got Monday and breakfast Tuesday. That's it. I start disciplining myself with that. Slow, small steps. Not, I'm gonna go on. I'm dieting now from now on. You don't even have the mental capacity of taking the time to meal prep that whole new menu, let alone start eating that stuff. So why set yourself up for failure? Just tell yourself, I'm just gonna every Wednesday or every Tuesday or every Monday, I'm just gonna eat X, Y, and Z, and start making that my practice. You do that over a period of time consistently, then you add something else. Little micro steps. Just keep doing it. Just keep doing it. Some people, we are all humanly different. Your change, you're not metaphysical, but you're metabolical. Yeah, metabolical, right? That's your liquid, like the internals. What is that? Not your metabolism, whatever. Let's just say your physiology, okay? Might run completely different. Not that the system is different, but there's things about your physiology that's much different than mine. Your change might happen faster. Your muscle development might be completely different than mine. I might have to work out twice as hard as you, but you might get more defined than me and not work out as much. That has nothing to do with me doing something wrong. It's just that's the way your body and my body is different. But if I just focus on me doing those little small things, just working out with 5-pound curls, I tell people all the time when they ask me about working out, I tell them, don't worry about what people are seeing you working out with. Don't try to show off by doing 30 and 40 and 50-pound dumbbells. Start off with 10 pounds. Perfect form. 3 reps, 3 sets, 10 reps. Perfect form. That's all. You may not even feel it. So what? You just being there consistently you're mentally developing yourself to get mass. Why? Because you're mentally committed to the effort that's going to help develop the mass as you do it over a long period of time.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So you have to approach a lot of times your Christianity like that.
And then you wouldn't have to give up on that Friday because you've been consistently pushing yourself,
Right.
and you've been encouraging yourself to.
You
wanna
reward
keep
yourself.
Maureen says the oldest will be 59
Jesus!
next month, my age.
Lord have
She
mercy!
said I can't wait for Friday.
Laureen, are you serious? Your oldest is going to be 59? My God. God bless you. That's awesome. Wow. Wow. Well, good for you. That's a blessing, man.
Yeah.
I want to be able to say my oldest is going to be 59 one day and still have the strength and the mental ability to say that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? God bless you. That's awesome. No.
She said yes, I'm 77.
God bless you. Wow, that's awesome. Lord Jesus. My God.
Living that retired life, man.
She said she can't wait for Friday. No, we ain't having that Friday show up, Laureen. We ain't having that Friday show up. We kicking that Friday out. All right, well, listen.
This was
Take
good.
us home.
Yeah, this was a good discussion, reflecting on 2024. And I think the biggest takeaway from this is recognizing that no matter what, God has you, and stand on his promises, and trust in him. Now, what does that look like? Does that look like just uttering things every single day as a motivational way to blindly do something? No. But if he got you there in that job, do the job righteously.
Yes.
Learn everything that you can in that job, and then in his due time, he'll provide you with something bigger and greater. And then that allows your mindset to understand for the next job, okay, I'm going to do these things righteously. I'm going to learn my skill set as much as possible. And then I'm going to serve other people for the next and the next. Always look at it as a way to honor God and to serve as much as possible. And you will build up more and more trust in God. There's going to be moments that are going to be tough. There are going to be moments where you're going to want to give up, where you're going to want to quit. And as Steve said, those urges, they don't go away.
They don't go away.
But
you learn to manage them better.
You learn to manage it better because you have success stories of when you did trust in God and when you didn't waver, and how he showed up for you in your life.
Yep.
So I think that's a great way to end this live discussion, is reflecting on God and his character. And, if God doesn't give us anything else, he gave us his son, and we now have eternal life. So
Amen.
Always remember that, and don't waver. Now, if you have any topics that you want to discuss, make sure you leave them in the chat here, and we'll try to get to addressing them one of these days on a Real Talk. I know sometimes you want to say like, hey, I was reading a verse and I thought about this, or hey, you know what, I was thinking about what you said when I listened, a couple weeks ago, and hey, when I had a friend who I brought over to the Righteous Unity YouTube channel and got them to subscribe to the channel, they had a question about, so we will address your topic. So we'll see you back here next Tuesday at 7:45 p.m. And make sure you go over to the Righteous YouTube channel and subscribe. God bless.
God bless y'all.